if you have the king that comes, it's like a whole scenario that you need to prepare. So there's like two, three meetings before with the team of the king. And I mean, the first time I arrived, and so obviously you are formally dressed, but I will never forget that scene. They were all in front of the door of Cercle de Lorraine, I mean, Hotel Merode now. They were all dressed in gray blue suits with glasses. I'm like, oh, this is Men in Black.
Hello, welcome everybody at Beyond the Blend episode 10. This is a video podcast of Alberts with real talk for entrepreneurs. We're super happy to open our doors here at Alberts and walk you through our days and get inspiring guests on the podcast in order to bring you valuable content for you to get started. Massively important, please click that subscribe button underneath. It costs you €0, dollars, or yens, and it helps us a lot to get the YouTube algorithm boost us forward. I'm checking in from our Brussels office. Right now it is 7 p.m. before this goes live. And our guest today is Marie Martens. I've actually just finished recording with her. It was fantastically nice, so I hope you all like it. About Marie, where to start? Marie has an amazingly rich background in both professional and personal life. Professionally, she's been traveling the globe. She's been working in startups. She's an entrepreneur herself. She's a freelancer. She's a consultant. She is working for an investment firm. She did it all. And on a personal level, her background is part Congolese and part Belgian. So she has a very rich culture and a very fluidic way of looking at the world. I really like her. I know Marie from the Beyond the Blend network, but all about that later in the section. For now, Marie, thank you very much for being here, and I hope you all like it. On to the weekly 5 minutes updates on Alberts. First one, merch. Yes, merch. Oh my God, it's crazy. Let's take a look together. I took our screen share here from our web store. Yeah, indeed. You can go to alberts.be/merch. You can click on the shop all button, and there you go. Design's ready for you to go. Let's take a look here. You got a t-shirt. On the back, it nicely says Alberts. You can change your color. Woo-hoo-hoo. You want a white one? Perfect. You want different sizes. And on the front side, hell yeah, you got a banana. At Alberts, we're all about healthy food, as you know. That's why I invented the world's first smoothie, soup, and milkshake, plant-based milkshake machine in the world. Let's take a look at other designs. I give you one more. Yes, one more. An Apple one. We also have sweaters. Take a look here. You can get it in black and sage, in teal, monstera, and India in gray. Yes, many colors for you. Please order one. You support us by doing so, and you spread the message of healthy food. What's there to lose? The last update of this week is on production, not for machines this time, but for ingredients. Indeed, having a food robotic startups means that we need to build machines, but we also need to build the food supply chain. As I told you, Robin has been working very hard on this. Yes, his picture here with a hat on. Okay, why am I mentioning Robin today? Well, that's bloody obvious. Robin is the head of food. Robin has been working very hard on getting ingredients produced and ready for shipment. And guess what? Yes, check these videos. Robin has been taking videos at our production partner for the food. We are repacking bulk food. The food we have is frozen. Take a look at this video. We are here sorting peas into our own bags. Indeed, that's pretty nice. We have our own bags, super nice format. 3 bags is exactly 1 Alberts cartridge inside the machine. Super handy for operators, the best quality food, and we're super proud to have this line out. The design is super slick. It represents Alberts in many ways. We've tried to be as lean as possible on what is needed from nature and effort-wise, but still get something super qualitative and something super lean. So I love it. I think the design is tight and lean. Drop a comment about what you think about it. And to Robin, I would say, keep your head cool, but I know you're doing that in these factories at minus 18 degrees. So thank you very much. Thank you to our partners, and let's go. Indeed, we're now ready to ship food. We are expanding Alberts, as we said before, and as I said here also in the podcast, we will be launching the UK very soon. The ingredients are now ready. The people of SV365 are ready to get our food delivered, so we're super excited. This has been a very, very, very intense track for us, but I'm very happy it's there, the Alberts product line. Let's go. Now, onto the podcast. Marie Martens is ready there. I just recorded with her. It was lovely. I hope you like it. Please let us know in the comments. Subscribe, like, comment, spread the message. We want to give more insights for entrepreneurs and give a true view on how things really are. And Marie did a fantastic job. Thank you very much, Marie, for being so open. Without further ado, Mrs. Marie Martens. Hello everybody, welcome back at Beyond the Blend. Today I am blessed with the presence of Marie Martens. Marie, how's it going?
It's going very well, Guylaine. Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, no, it's a pleasure. Marie, how to start introducing you? I mean, we know each other for, I think, 5 years, something like that, in that direction.
It's starting to sound.
Yes, it's becoming heavy. No, kidding aside. I know you as a very ambitious lady, but also a lady with a very strong opinion about topics. Yeah, really. That's at least how you are for me. You have strong opinions on many fields, and I hope to dive into them today with you. But maybe a first good idea is who is Marie Martens, and could you give us some insights in your career path so far?
Okay. My complete past as well.
No, not complete. Not the career path.
Career path. Sorry. Okay. So, Marie. So I basically I've studied marketing, and quickly after that, for a very my background is also I'm half Congolese, half Belgian, so traveling has always been in my blood as well, and so I have quite a lot of cousins that have, traveled and studied abroad. So for me, it was kind of the next thing to do was after studying working abroad, and so I've decided to move to New York because some of my friends were there doing LLM programs and everything, and then I came in touch for the first time in my life with the startup scene. And we are here talking back 1999. So it was like the dot-com bubble. And that's how old I am. and the thing is, it was quite interesting because coming from Belgium where I wasn't in touch with that field, and it was really bizarre to actually meet people that were building a company and they were getting venture money, and I was like, who gives you that money? What are you going to do with that? And it was just like so weird for me at that point. So, and they were mainly Swedish and other European countries, and I wasn't quite familiar with all that. So I sort of joined into, and then I decided to move there. And then I've had my visa and everything, and I started to work for a startup there. And then my American dream came to a halt because Osama bin Laden came by and he dropped a few bombs. So that was a bit of, so I had to rethink my international strategy dream. And so I then decided, because my brother was living at that time in London, and so I decided to move to London. And where, again, another terrorist attack happened. And it's kind of a running joke as well that every time I move places, there's always a terrorist attack. It seems like I'm a terrorist magnet or something, because when I moved to Brussels, again, there was also 2 years later, bam, another terrorist attack. So,
oh my God.
So people are asking me to move to Moscow now, maybe something might happen.
That might resolve some issues or make it worse.
So anyhow, so this is now, so I moved to London, and in London, I again came in touch with the startup scene there. And I've worked in a company that was in scientific literature. It was a startup, and we built a company actually pretty much from scratch. I was in a business development role and built it literally from £10,000 to 3 million pounds in revenue. And so I really sort of understood then what it takes actually to build a company and what you need to do for that, and the sacrifice you need to do for that. So, and then as the London HR scenes work, is that you get contacted by headhunters and things like that. So So I moved from scientific literature to photography. I worked for Getty Images, and from there I was contacted again, and then I worked for the Clean Tech Group. And the Clean Tech Group was actually this organization that was organizing events and writing reports on venture investment across all clean tech sectors. And so that was really fun. And that's where I got in touch with a lot of startups and also investment funds, and understood what they were looking for and tried to match them. And through that experience, I basically came across the fact that many of those entrepreneurs couldn't sell their company, and they were really bad in presenting their company to investors. And also just the whole problem when I was hearing from investors that, oh, they can't scale, they don't know how to sell. It's always a problem. It's selling, and how do you scale? And so then I decided in 2010, and I moved back to Belgium just a year before, to create my own company called Twist Consulting, where I basically would be advising startups in their growth strategies, and so really focusing on the growth and on the communication and with the sales, and building an international network, and I mean working on their international growth. So that has that has worked quite well for me, and with all its ups and downs that you have. And not everything was smooth sailing.
I can imagine. Yeah.
And but it was a really, I mean, it still is an incredible opportunity to meet entrepreneurs from all fields and just help them. And so in the last 10 years, I've worked with tech companies, but I also worked with production companies that were making dog food and spices. So it's been really nice to see all those different fields that are happening in Belgium. And so in that way, it was also quite natural. But in the meantime, which is I also joined a startup called Sizable, which were basically doing sustainable underwear. And so I really wanted to do it myself, building up a product company, and instead of selling hours, because hours are not scalable. But that story didn't end well because we had to fold. But anyway, it was a very interesting, experience. It's kind of doing your MBA in a way. And then on the other hand, in the meantime as well, I joined the Post Foundation to head up the Beyond program, where we basically helped, as you know, as you have been one of my laureates, to not possessive, but
Consider me yours.
And in order to help tech scale-ups reach that growth and help them in their capital raise, in their commercial, and organizing workshops and everything. So that was quite nice. And then through that, I just received an offer from Frank Bass that I couldn't refuse. And it was basically also the opportunity for me as well to work inside a fund, and also to understand how later stage companies are being funded and also are growing their businesses. Because to be honest with you, whilst I was working with Beyond, it's always been this, for me, this ambition of creating the ecosystems. But I think what we need in Belgium is that ecosystem, that everybody talks to each other, that all those SMEs could be able to meet with tech scale-ups, and so they can learn from each other and grow in a certain way. And I hope, it's not going to be my main job. I don't think Frank's going to be happy with that, but I hope and somehow I will be able to influence that technology could be brought in to the various later stage companies that are being invested in.
Yeah. No, but definitely. I think, there's a lot to unravel, right? If we have to cover it all. But I think one quote.
That's the career path.
Yes, until now, of course. But
Year to date.
one quote that I always remembered, Marie, from you during this time at Beyond, where you've been trying to successfully get these scale-ups from a Belgian level, let's say, to an international level and try to make international scale-ups and try to help them. I always remembered one sentence of you, which is like, national unity is a competitive advantage. And I think if there is one person who can really know something about that, it's you. Because like you said, your background, you have been partially Congolese background, partially Belgian background. You've been traveling the world, let's say, or at least working in different continents and different sectors. And then we are here in our small country in a very, very special situation, maybe where you have different regions that are competitive, not only towards the outside world, let's say from that country, but also inner in that country. I mean, could you share some thoughts extra on, I mean, it's your quote, so could you unravel that quote yourself a little bit more?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the thing is, like, as I said, like, I've been mainly in business development roles, when I was working in the UK, and I was literally, on the plane, in the trains, and continuously. And so obviously also attending trade shows. And so what you would see is that you would see, even though the UK, they have Scotland, they have Wales, they have Northern Ireland, they have England, but they do stand as the GBT, so they do stand, so you don't have, you do, sometimes they do, but it's not that prominent that, you have the Welsh and the Scottish, and it's really doing UK business and GB, Great Britain business. And that has always struck me, and it's the British farmers, it's the British this, the British that, and there's a lot of pride in that, okay? And there's a lot of pride of being British, and I mean, if I have lived there for more than 8 years, and the Queen passing away has affected me. I'm like, oh my God, the Queen has died. And then I don't think I will have the same, I don't think Belgium will have the same feeling with King Philip, for instance. It's so deep. Being part of something, being British is very strong. Same thing with Americans, same thing with Italians and French. It's very strong. And we don't have that. We only have that when the football players the World Cup. That's the only time we fully are. Then you see Belgian flags everywhere.
Everywhere.
They really are Belgians, And hopefully they would score, and hopefully they will win the cup this time. But it's only at that time, and I think, and that's why it's so much stronger that, and the other unity is the king, and you can say anything you want about him, but he command meetings. He can go somewhere and doors are opening. I don't think, with all due respect for his job, I don't think that Mr. President Jan Bon has the same power. And and so, and this is one thing. But then I'm also talking, when I was representing the Beyonders to funds, and I was talking with funds in England and in the Netherlands, and they always said, "Oh, Marie, I don't know where to start in Belgium, where to find them, where this and where the opportunities are, because everything seems to be so complicated." And so I'm like, okay. So and it was all of that. So and I think I know our history is very complex, and we are a very young country as well. But I still think that there is it's for entrepreneurs and just for our country and optimizing Belgium. I think we really need to think about that. That it's really a competitive advantage to be. And sometimes I think it's so crazy when you speak with entrepreneurs, and they happily take the train to go to fucking London. Excuse me, but
no, go for it.
Their car to go to hustle because there is an entrepreneur there that is in the same field, and because they're from Roeselare, or they're from I don't know where. And I'm not saying that it's for all, but it's really, you have all those mini kingdoms You have
Yes.
Ghent, you have Antwerp, you have Brussels and Liège. And why is, I mean, it's obviously it is important to have an ecosystem, but there has to be somehow a platform that embraces it all and that makes
Yes.
sure that all those entrepreneurs, all those investors are basically seeing each other, talking to each other, not knowing about each other, but really, I mean, you're not gonna let someone invest in you if you don't have some kind of personal contacts. And how do you get the
Exactly.
personal contact? Is because you sometimes, even if you meet them once or twice a year, but the fact that you already had a personal connection and talk to them makes a difference. And I do think
Yeah.
there should be more effort towards that. And I think we would be
Yeah.
more efficient. And I think I've seen it with Beyond how it worked and how friendships were created across both regions. And I think I mean that's why I strongly believe in initiatives like Beyond, like the Pulse Foundation, and also I strongly believe in the strategy of Basen and Partners, where they really are considering the whole Belgian ecosystem and try to work with that.
Yeah. No, 100%. I mean, there's a quote that always stuck with me, and it's like, companies are not sold to companies, or investors don't invest in companies. It's people who invest in people, and
Yeah.
it is people who sell something to people. And in a way, I think you really, with Beyond, you've really hit a sweet spot because as a uniqueness, but in this case, it's maybe not so good to be unique on that spot for the country. But I mean, it's an amazing contradiction. Belgium is in some way the melting pot, in a way, of what, or sometimes they call Brussels like mini Europe. You know, there are like 150 nationalities living
Yeah,
here. You have
after Dubai, we're the second most nationalities in the world. I mean, there is
exactly.
no other country that, if you go from Porte de Namur to Avenue Louise, only on that sidewalk, you can already listen to 5 different languages and European
Easily.
languages, going from Finnish to Italian to Spanish to, I mean, and they live here. It's not that they are tourists like in New York and in London. No, 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 no. These are people that live in Brussels.
Yes, exactly. And so somehow it's such a contradiction, right? Because it totally, like, we transcend towards that almost mini Europe. And at the same time, we kind of seem to forget that we actually should have that unity then internally, and that we somehow, like, I remember so I'm from a small village from the north of Flanders, totally the north, actually at the border with the Netherlands. I still remember when I went to study in Brussels, people were looking at me like I was going abroad. While it's the capital of the country. I was like, yeah, it shouldn't be weird, right? But it's literally as if I was leaving the country, like as if I
Yeah.
was going away. So you for sure have a sweet spot there where you say, okay, let's try to focus on bridging these connections again, and trying to get everybody, let's say, who work closely together. So that is super nice. A second
Yeah, I
thing
mean, I
which,
think I think lots of people do think that, but I think it's. I mean, we are politically so divided that I think politicians have a responsibility there, and I mean, I don't want to be politics and everything, but I do think they have a responsibility there, and because they're not building a country. I mean, they're building a region, but I mean, if in the greater scheme of things, um, what does it? We can be so much stronger. We can be so much,
yes.
but anyway, it's
Yeah, what
it's an
I'm hesitating to dive into politics, but okay, at least a little bit. Then you're totally right. I mean, it does make sense in the history part of our country to fight for a certain existence. In our case, in the country, it was the Flemish side who was trying to fight for their rights in order
yeah.
to, let's say, we need to be able to study in our language, we need to be able to be
Yeah,
represented in
no.
our language. Logic,
I mean,
logic.
I can give you an anecdote. Like my grandfather, Bon Papa, and he was really. I mean, bless his soul, but he was such a flamingant, and he. I
Maybe we
mean,
have to say what a flamingant is or not.
yeah, you have to explain that.
So it's
It's
actually, I'm
extreme
not sure
right.
about it.
We could say extreme right Flemish.
Yes.
political views. And
Something like that.
so, but from somebody, I mean, he was born in 24, and for somebody from that generation, I understand that because they couldn't study in their language. And so the whole question around, Flemish being accepted at university and as a national language, I totally get that. Okay, but it has to stop at some point. Okay, and you can enforce it, and you can, and I think it has, mainly been achieved. But the strength of Belgium as a whole was that we could fluently speak three languages, and then
Yeah.
now from both sides it has gone, and which is
Yes.
really. And so to tell you that I mean, my grandfather was so much into that Flemish thing, so he really wanted his great kids to get that grandchildren. uh, he really wanted them to have that Flemish culture with them. And I was subscribed until my 25th, I think from my 16th to my 25th, he subscribed, he had a subscription for me to Paliterke. Okay, which is the extreme right version of newspaper you can ever have. And when I was moving to New York, I was receiving them when I'm moving to London, and every time I would say, oh, I moved there, and every time he would ask, so give me your address, but it was not to send me a Christmas card. It was just to ensure that I would get a subscription to Paliterke. And then at a certain point, I had to tell him, you know what, you're really wasting your
Money.
because I'm only reading the jokes, and I'm not really not interested in the whole newspaper. But and then in a way, it was also because it's a small, it's a small newspaper, and it was talking about, yeah, but we need to keep them alive and la 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 la. I didn't agree with the views, but then but for people from that generation, I totally understand it, but people from my generation, I don't, and I do think that a language is a culture, and is a culture that needs to be kept alive, and that needs to be protected, and that needs to, and that everybody has the right and to study in his language. All of that we've achieved as Flemish people, and but we are, and as I always said, unless I have a Flemish passport, I don't have it right now. Right now, I have a Belgian passport, and I have Flemish. I have a Flemish culture, and I'm very proud of it. But the fact is, we are Belgian, and there is so much to Belgium, and that we need to promote as well. And
Yeah.
I
I
don't know if
cannot
that
agree.
makes any sense, but it's just that I think it's a generation issue, and we need to get over that.
Yes. No, I cannot agree more. I cannot agree more. It's super, super important to check our history, but also to know how much was achieved already there. And then also to, at a certain point, say unity now brings us further. It's like two lines that somehow at a certain point intersect, but then you
Yeah.
diverge again. So we need to make sure that once we've converged, let's stick together. And also on the languages, you're so right. It's such a massive added advantage to go anywhere and speak two, three languages by nature.
Yeah.
But also, I feel that with younger generations, of course, English is boosting up, so that's
Yeah,
very
but
good. But
it's
the
true,
French side,
and I think it's really sad. I mean, I remember that I used to go to meetings in Switzerland, and I've attended meetings and high level meetings with investors and everything, and everybody was speaking, and it was in everybody was speaking his own language. So there was German, and there was French, and there was Italian. And so for me, then obviously the switch the switch sometimes, like the German was I could sort of understand, but then the gently were speaking French, or but it's just it just come to say that there as well they have language issues, but they respect each other, and obviously it's a different history and this and that, and I'm not want to downplay it, but I'm just saying that we still we still need to evolve to this level that we respect each other language, and we don't automatically go, oh, let's speak English, and because then it's international English that sometimes is really bad English, and then so I made a mistake earlier. Instead of saying grandchildren, I say great children, which is literally a translation from Dutch. So but so this is I corrected myself, but it just I've heard worse, so
yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely.
I just
I
say
hope we
that
do a
straight up.
decent.
You should
Maybe
all be
people can
able
leave
to.
in the comments how decent it is, like the
What's
English we
that?
expose. No, maybe people can leave in the comments how decent it is, the English. Let's see how they would rate that. No, but honestly, I think and definitely from your side, with your background and all the insights you have, I think it's a powerful message that the strength in future-wise, the strength lies way more in unity than it lies in being conflicted with each other, and that unity is a competitive advantage. I totally also believe in that. So like you said, there are not enough platforms basically to boost that, and Beyond was one. So I was super happy that we were part of it and that we were your laureate or your laureate. We've learned a lot
Yeah.
from that. Um, we try to introduce a new topic. So you're the first one where we try to search together for your highest high and your lowest low. So which were the moments or the moment where you said, "Oh yeah, that was a bullseye. That
Okay.
was a
I will
bullseye
first
with
start.
my eyes closed."
I will first start with the lowest low, and then I will end with the highest high, which is then on a positive note, right?
Okay.
So, so the lowest low, I think it was. I mentioned it earlier. Was my partnership in Sizable, and that was really 5 years of hard work, and it was I couldn't find you know the right balance in a relationship with the co-founders and the business partners in the business, and that was quite a challenge. And the market was also very fragmented and very difficult. And so even though we had some nice successes, but it just with Corona and everything, it went really bad. I mean, it went bad. It's not. It didn't go bad, but in the sense that you have to make a decision. Okay, you have to do
Yeah,
at
yeah.
some point. You just have to make the same decision and being able to say, okay, I stop. And sometimes you just want to continue, and because you read everywhere, just don't give up, just continue. But
Yeah, yeah.
and sometimes you just have to make a sanity check and just have to be
Yes.
able to just plug the and unplug, and that's it, and just say
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is it, and we're not going forward. And that was a very difficult process,
Can imagine.
and also very hard process, with a lot of things that you sort of think on all the different relationships that you've built, and you have to disappoint people. So that was quite hard. But then
And
my highest points, and I think I mean the one that I really cherish is the in Beyond, was the Beyond 2020 kickoff, which was literally in the beginning of I mean it
COVID.
was in Corona, but it was between two lockdowns, and we were just out of the first lockdown, and so we had all these rules, and but we didn't know how many people and this and that, so they were still debating around that. And then I remember I was in the south of France on holidays, and all of a sudden I get this call saying Cercle de Lorraine went bankrupt, and that's where we were having the event. We had the
Oh shit.
confirmation. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was not a joke. But I also had Boyan Slat as a speaker, and he's very demanded, and I worked 6 months solid to get him, without him paying, without us paying him a fee, which was a success as well. But and then I had also the confirmation of the king participating. So
Holy shit.
I was like, this is so much pressure, and Lucha that that's how you realize how good of a team you are in those hard moments. And we were just, what are we going to do? And then the next day, or 3 days later, then Cercle de Lorraine was bossed by this group of people, and it's now called de Merode. But in the beginning, they didn't want to apply the business deal that we had, and they didn't want to honor it. And and obviously, I said, listen, the king is coming, this and this and that. You're opening a new things. I mean, why would you not honor this? This is not like a
Yeah.
bad thing. And anyway, so it all went fine. in the end. But then was we they call back and I say, oh, but we have an issue. We cannot do cocktails and we cannot do this because it's not allowed because all the corona rules were coming out, and you're not allowed to do that. To give people food and drinks. I'm like, what? And I'm like, I cannot have 120 people coming for 2 hours and not giving them anything to drink, anything to eat, nothing. We need to find a solution. And for 3 weeks, we've been banging our heads against the wall, trying to find a solution together with that team from JLM events, which were brilliant. Edouard, he was absolutely brilliant, that guy. And we came with a solution to have those little tables. And then they came up with this huge budget. And I'm like, why are we did that? Okay, divide that by 2. Let's have 1 table per 2 person. Then at least it's like they're sharing something. They all sit down and drink. And then it turned out to be the best thing ever. Because indeed, everybody was sitting down. Everybody felt served. And because they had their little drink, their little zakuskis, they were already set on the table. And it was as if it was like a mini restaurant for 2 hours. And it was a headache to get there. And the king, I mean, just like, I don't know, like if you have the king that comes, it's like a whole scenario that you need to prepare. So there's like 2-3 meetings before with the team of the king. And it's, I mean, the first time I arrived, and so obviously you are formally dressed, but I will never forget that scene. They were all in front of the door of Cercle de Lorraine, I mean, Hotel Merode now. They were all dressed in gray blue suits with glasses. I'm like, oh, this is Men in Black. It was really like all the sunglasses, all the things. It was like, this is like, it was like, but we were, I mean, Lotjen and I really prepared everything. We really took the time, like chronometer, you know, we timed every step that we take. Okay, we're going up the stairs. How many times does it take? We're going left. The king has to go left. How many times does it take? And now we're going right. How many times? Every single, so we had that step by step, minute by minute was calculated. Every action was calculated into minutes. And then because they all have military backgrounds, you know, that team. So it literally was 005, 005, 006, just to make sure that we showed them that we could be very precise and professional. And so it turns out that we did a good job because I was invited to the Christmas concert at the palace, which didn't happen because of Corona, but I still got the invitation. So
yes. It's beside your bed table.
Right. But I mean, anyway, it was so basically, I mean, the thing was like we had to cater all the the king and Brian Slat, like a high level speaker, and also all the donors of the Pulse Foundation that are top industrial families of our country, very important families. So everything had to be spick and span and well orchestrated, and so I couldn't afford having them without drinks. I couldn't afford. I mean, they are donating so much money to the foundation.
Yes.
And the king was coming. I mean, it is like, and with his whole, with his whole cortege of people. So it was. I mean, it was impressive, and it was very stressful. And then next to that, there was obviously the kickoff as well. So the laureates and embracing the laureates and giving them and everything. So it's and then it pulled off and it happened. It was people were very happy with the event, and so they were all glad. And we have a very funny picture of group picture with the king and our mask of Corona time. So it's like we were robbing a bank, but it's quite funny.
With the king. Marie, yes. Marie, thank you very much for
no, thank you.
for sharing all of this.
No, I'm very glad I'm your first woman on the show, and
Exactly.
first woman of color. So you basically
Exactly.
ticking gender and diversity. You should
It's
talk to Gert Verhulst. You should tell him something.
it's a local Belgian joke on television. There is a, a rage today in the news, but indeed, we are scoring good points. I am super proud that you were here. I really love that not all these people have, you call it a fluidic world vision, and you have that. And I love that. And you also
Thank
dare to
you.
say stuff which are political or which are on the border, and that's nice. Because if we all rest in the safe zone where we only say things which are politically correct, we're not moving forward anyways either. So I like it. We addressed some topics. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, and all the best
Enjoy
with the
your
rest of
night.
the show. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Marie.
Bye.
Okay. Bye bye. Ciao, Marie.
Bye. Thank you.